Alright, over here at the right side of the map, our Zerg player, a little bit flustered, I'm certain, after that very unusual game we just saw on Calm Before the Storm. This is our Zerg player, Symbol, on the team TSL. Over here, a player who's been through many teams and clans, originally a member of the clan Nex, hung out with NSP, then eventually decided to join the team MVP. This guy was a BlizzCon champion, likes to use carriers in this matchup today in particular. MVP Genius. Now, I want to talk a little bit about that last game while this game starts to get heated up, because yeah, I got excited. That was really interesting. We saw 12 carriers kill a Zerg player who had Hydralisks and Mutalisks, but let's be honest, Symbol lost that game. Genius did not win that game, Symbol lost that game. He had a cool Hydralisk Nidus drop timing. Wanted to use that Nidus to perhaps attack the front, saw the cans, decided, okay, I've got Overlord drops for this possible case, so I dropped into the main, but he had a lot of units, and I killed his Nexus, I couldn't retreat, and then things got awkward. In most cases, I would have been able to just retreat, because his ground army wouldn't be able to catch my Hydras, but in this case, he had carriers and Phoenixes for some reason, so I couldn't get out, and so I lost my entire army, and from there, Genius was like, well, I guess I can just keep making carriers. Yeah, I lost my Nexus, but I'm just going to keep making carriers. What are you going to do? You lost all your Hydras, you don't have creep across the map, and so Genius was able to just basically do whatever he wanted, and he picked to make carriers and motherships because he's a nice guy. He wants to make this entertaining for you guys. I have to say I was really surprised by his fleet beacon play, because he did plan on doing that from the outset. He made that fleet beacon before the attack arrived. It was actually his plan to go carriers, and it worked. So Genius going for a Forge Fast Expand on Belshire Beach with the newer version of Belshire Beach is actually a pretty good build to do on this map. As you can see, there's a secondary ramp here. It takes quite a few buildings to wall off, about as many as it would on a map like Antigua Shipyards, for example, maybe a little bit more than it would on Shakuras Plateau. But even so, fairly good map for Forge Fast Expand. There used to be 2 paths and naturally come around here as well, so people didn't do it as often. But now with the new map changes, it's winter time, it's time to Forge Fast Expand on this map. Interestingly, Symbol not going for a hatch first. It used to be fairly risky to do a hatch first on a map like this because people would Corrugate, there were all sorts of Ellens, there were Void Ray Ellens, Nexus Cancel Ellens, and stuff like that. But nowadays, it's almost crazy to not hatch first, but Symbol trying to play it safe, doesn't want to fall all the way out of Code, getting his Zergling speed first here, pulled all of his drones out of gas at 100, not mining extra for gas at all, just getting that 100. So it means he's probably going to take a fast third base, wants to just drone up quite heavily. Now Genius at this point, keeping his probe here to wall off, doesn't want these Zerglings to sneak in there. His opponent made an unpredictable amount of Zerglings and try to run them in. He's going to prevent that with that probe. He wants to go and scout a second time now, wants to make sure that the hatchery has been made, he wants to make sure that his opponent's not mining that gas, he wants to kind of get an idea of what's going on here, and will he actually be able to see the gas? Looks like no. We'll see the hatchery, however. Probe goes down as Zergling speed finishes. Genius with the double gases here in the main. Cybernetics Core finishing up. No Zealot deciding to skip that, as he does have a full wall off here. No Zerglings can get in, he's only got the 1 cannon. He knows that's fine because he checked this hatchery, made sure that it was still there. Knows his opponent's not going for a Roach all-in, not going for a Baneling all-in, so just being totally safe at this point. Cybernetics Core finishing up now as Genius actually takes a 3rd gas and immediately makes that Stargate. Not a second after that Cybernetics Core was done did he make that Stargate. So we're going to see some more Stargate play out of Genius. Not entirely sure what kind this time, but I'm really excited after we saw him use carriers quite well last game. It shows that Genius really does understand how to use airplay. I mean, he opened with Phoenixes, did a decent amount of damage, killed off the Hydras. He knew the Hydralisk count was low enough for him to go ahead and make that fleet beacon. He said, you know what, I'm going to do it. He hit it from his opponent. Symbol didn't really know what was going on. So, I know I keep going back to that game, but I actually am I'm gonna steal the replay, because you know what, I'm in the studio, I can just take that replay off the computer. It's something that you guys can't do. I'm gonna take it home and watch it. I'm gonna figure this build out. I'm gonna see how he does it. I want to know his fleet beacon timing. You guys can go and watch the VOD if you get the premium service on golmtv.net. Do that. Tell your friends to go and watch that VOD as well. I'm sure it'll be quite a historical game in the coming months, especially with the removal of the carrier imminent. Be a game everyone talks about years to come from now. Zerling poke up here. Cannot see the Stargate. This is it. And Void Ray will pop out though, and he's going to take an Overlord out immediately with that, and it does allow Symbol to see what he wanted to see. He already had 3 spores on the way, 1 spore here, of course, here as well, and the third spore, I suppose, is lurking around somewhere else, but he can walk it somewhere else if he wants to. It's that third base when it finishes. Zerling's continuing to poke here, wants to know, are you making really gateway units right now? How many gateway units do you have? Have you started destroying your own wall off? He wants to know all this information, and each time he comes up here, yeah, he may lose his Zerling, but that's okay, as long as he can see what's going on. In fact, doesn't lose any Zerlings, just making sure they stay alive. It's a really good idea to poke up there and do that. Genius, though, is making 4 more gateways in the background here. Going to put him up to a total of 5. Now this pylon is being destroyed. We're going to see Genius do a timing attack with 1 Void Raid, 5 gateways. He's going to try to hit the third base location of Symbol. Symbol's lair is almost done. Now remember, he doesn't have any other real tech. He does not have a Roachborn. He's mining off of 2 gases. I believe we're going to see a Infestation Pit or a Spire. Most likely a Spire, but we could see an Infestation Pit out of Symbol as soon as that lair finishes, as he does have quite a bit of gas stacked up here. And, you know, here comes that move out with a ton of sentries. Not very many other real combat units. Another Void Ray being rallied out here. His gateways are ready to go. And look at that, the Zerling does spot this push. He knows what's going on, does not see the pylon. In fact, Symbol not using any drones here right now, knowing that he might lose this hatchery. A Hydralistin on the way, a Roachborn on the way, 20 Zerlings, plus 1 on the way for those Hydras. But Zerlings sneak into the main, trying to hit these probes. Nice mineral walk here, though, by Genius. In fact, losing none of those probes. But the key here is that Genius went home, and now allows Symbol to get drones at the space if he wants to. He's already got Zerlings here to stop any possible commitment by Genius. And yeah, these Zerlings are not going to make it home tonight. Does see all the gateways. Not really important. Sees the Void Rays as well. 8 drones on the way as well now, because he knows, okay, I have a decent amount of Zerlings out. You're all the way in your main base. Are you really going to be able to push me right now? I've got a Zerling here to check if you take a third. I'll know if you do it or not. I'll know how to prepare. I've already got Roach Speed, Hydra Range, Burrow, and +1's about to finish. I'm going to be totally fine when your attack hits. Genius seems to think otherwise, though, as he is pushing out the huge commitment here. Zerling is going to go ahead and attack the Zealot. They will be able to break through if they decide to commit. Zealot getting low on hit points here. And Genius, will he turn around? It looks like the answer is no. Not warping in another Zealot, trying to desperately chrono boost his gateways. Did not have another Zealot on cooldown. 3 being warped into the mineral line. He's going to go for this third base. And Symbol immediately pulling his drones in between. That hatchery is not going to last long. And nice control, using the probes to block here a little bit. Not losing any of those Zealots, in fact. And you know what? Symbol's actually in trouble. He lost a lot of Zerlings, doing virtually no damage. If you guys look at the workers killed, it's 5 in total. But these Hydras may be enough to hold off this push. Remember, they do have +1. Genius smartly decides to go home. I'd like to see him take a third base immediately here. He's already started his robotics. He's got a Twilight Council on the way. Genius is playing this smart, as his name suggests. He is a genius. Looked like he was thinking about taking a Nexus here. Now, the reason why a lot of players take a Nexus in this location, closer to their opponent rather than a location like here, is because in this particular matchup, you want to be attacking more often than defending in most cases. If you have a Nexus closer to your opponent, when your opponent tries to counterattack you, you can return home from an attack to defend that base much easier than you would on kind of a base out here on the outskirts. Zealot patrolling around these 2 locations to make sure no bases have been taken. Can actually take the watchtower here. If he engages these Hydras with good force fields, he will crush this army of Symbol. Symbol needs to be careful here. But on the other hand, Genius needs to make sure his Zealots are in front, because they're kind of clumped up in the middle, and those Zealots are going to be the kind of buffer that he needs to push through that army. +1 weapons, or excuse me, armor on the way right now for Genius. He's got an Immortal coming in here as well to mix in before this robotic support bay finishes. Does, of course, have +1 on all these units. Going to catch an Overlord. Always good to catch those Overlords. Now, Symbol continuing to move out. He wants to take control of this watchtower. I think he's kind of wary of what's going on. He was like, maybe you want to take this third base. Can I see it? And, you know, Genius continues to say no, pushes him back. Symbol has to back up now. Zergling is here to spot, will actually see this Nexus when it's made, but does not, however, see this pylon nor the cannons here, so a little bit unlucky. Genius, though, can see the Zergling. He's going to chase it away, and in fact, will Zergling be able to see? Yep, sees it. He knows. He's going to check anyways. Zerglings are diligent scouts, actually. The only scout more diligent than a Zergling is an observer. Actually, some people would argue that Zerglings are more diligent. I actually might argue that. People do not use their observers well enough right now. Symbol is going to go for a huge drop here, and, you know, Genius is kind of trying to figure out what's going on over here, but he doesn't know about the drop. He kind of poked the army. He was like, oh, I guess the army's going to go home, but the answer is no, Genius. The army's not going to come home. It's right here. It's dropping in his main base, and Genius has no idea. Now he realizes sending his army immediately back, but there's so many Hydralisks and Roaches here. The probes pulled immediately. Will he target down the Nexus? This is actually such a strong army. Genius does not want to engage this straight up. If Genius backs up too much, he's just going to go for the Nexus. In fact, he's going to target that Nexus down now. Will he lift up and go home? He's going to try to, but there are a lot of units here. The Stalkers do have Blink. Oh, and it looks like Symbol's going to lose all of his units. The Overlords do escape, but the Hydras and Roaches melt here. And this does offer Genius a timing to attack. He's got Colossi, but look at this over here. He's going to have to cancel this Nexus because Symbol is attacking in two different locations at once. Colossi and Bordre is kind of coming in here to join up with the forces. He's actually going to go try to catch these units and then go for a huge attack. He's got a pylon over here. This allows him to reinforce and go for a kill, really. That's something that Genius should consider right now as he remakes his next side, because, yeah, sure, he can remake this Nexus, he can remake this Nexus as well, but his opponent has a better economy right now. He's kind of just running his units around, buying time. He's already got a better supply. He's getting a Spire right now. And Genius decides to blink forward here on top of these units rather than blink might for his Stalkers back. Losing no Stalkers there, just a few hit points. Right now, Genius with a supply lead, but as far as army goes, look at that. It's fairly similar. 81 for Genius to 66 of Symbol. Symbol losing a lot of units kind of in the middle of the map. He was okay before he lost his units to the top right. Now, Genius has a really good time, but he's deciding to go back home. Why? Because Symbol's dropping again. Forces to cancel. Why not? He's going to actually keep all of these units alive. Even this little Hydralisk right here, he's going to get home just fine. It's going to be totally fine. Genius to cancel that Nexus. He's sent all of his units back home. And looks like that Hydra I told you guys is not going to be fine because Symbol didn't want to save him. Roaches go down here. Now he's going to keep an observer over here most likely to make sure this doesn't happen again. Another little attack from Symbol. But Genius learned from the first time this happened. Okay, you're going to do this again. I'm just going to be totally prepared. I'm going to split my units into two groups. It's not a really big drop in my main. And Genius is actually sending his probes now over here to this third Nexus that he has up. He'd do well to not actually retake his main, maybe retake this base closer to his opponent, and actually it has more minerals. This base is kind of mined out right now. I'd like to see him take a different base. Bringing a probe with this army, this is a huge army. This is the timing I was talking about earlier. He's going to go for it, but mutas are out. You never want a base trade against mutas. Spine's going up here desperately for Symbol to try to help hold this. Here come the mutas and roaches into the main. In fact, Genius not going to be able to do a whole lot with this Colossus that pops out. And the third hatchery of Symbol does get taken out, but he does have a fourth hatchery on the left side. What he needs to be able to do here is cut off all the drones. If he can kill all the drones, then he'll be okay in a base trade scenario if he can get some of his probes out. Remember, he has this base mining right now. He's got a decent amount of money, but he's losing a lot here in his main. The Mutalisk force is quite large. And if we do have a base trade, yeah, of course Genius has a bigger army, but his opponent has the much more mobile army. All the drones taken out here, none survive. He's going to take out the Slayer, getting all of the tech right now. But there are drones aplenty over here, and in fact, still not sending any drones out into the middle of the map with his push, despite the fact that this is quite obviously going to become a base trade. Probes not actually running for Genius as well. He did save some of these probes. He's got them over here on the right side of the map. And Genius is in a pretty good spot at this point. He's up 30 supply. He can beat this army if he can fight it. And with the roaches that are here, he could actually crush these roaches. These roaches will not escape if Genius does not want them to. But a drone has been sent out for Symbol. He does not yet have enough money for another hatchery because he made all these spines. A terrible decision by Symbol because now he can't make a hatchery. He needs to cancel all of these right now. There's no way he can hold this. He needs to cancel these spines. He's not going to win in a base trade because Genius has probes out on the map. Genius is actually being revealed right now. He's going to hide a Nexus right here, and guess what? those spines were not canceled, so guess who's not making a hatchery today? The answer is TSL Symbol. He's going to be revealed quite shortly here. And this Nexus is so easily going to be defended. Right now with the Mulas count the way it is, 16 Mulas against 32 Stalkers. That means he can leave a majority of his Stalkers at home and go and chase down the final Extractor wherever it may be. In fact, there are 2 Extractors here. Does he have anything else? It doesn't look like it. I think this is just going to be it. I take it back. There's something around the map somewhere. Here it is. Just made this one at the last second, almost dying. Facing death, and Genius is just going to go kill it, and that's going to be it. It's the end of our tale here. Genius going to 2-0. Symbol. Oh, I'm like actually just wrong about everything. Keeps making it after I say that. How many drones does he have left? He's got 1 drone left. Well, you know, despite this, it's not going to matter. Genius has a Nexus that his opponent does not know about. Doesn't see this. In fact, he's still got 6 probes out on the map. 1 all the way over here. He can make a Nexus if he wants to. He can do whatever he wants. He's going to go over here, kill these final 2 Extractors, and that will be the end of our story. There are no more drones left on the map. He's going to fight the Mutas to do so. Could actually just engage and kill the Extractor, but he's going to go for the Mutas. And that's it. GG. Well, we saw some interesting games between these 2 players. Genius showing some Stargate play, and in that game showing, I think, a lot more experience and decision-making than Symbol. Symbol did not play that right at all. When you do this, you leave the roaches there, you use the Mutas to kind of make sure that Genius's army can never move out. You try to find the probes. The number 1 rule of a base race is to eliminate the workers. Yeah, sure, if you eliminate all the Nexi, then he gets revealed, but guess what? If he has probes somewhere, you can just make a Nexus that you don't know where it is. Symbol did not go for the probes, did not prevent the retreat, slowly attacked the Nexus with the Mutas, did not send them out to try to pressure Genius into doing anything, also made all those spine crawlers so you couldn't make a hidden hatchery. It didn't save very many drones either. Rather, all those drones that were made into spines were actually worthless. They weren't even able to fire. Anyway, Genius took that out, looked pretty dominant, and you know, I talked up his opponent Symbol quite a bit because I watched him play. It was really good. I think Nerves got him a little bit. This is the first time he's played in the GSL. He hasn't been able to show his stuff yet. I think Nerves absolutely got him. There's no doubt about it in my mind. And I think we'll probably see this guy again. You guys will see him next time he plays in Team League, I'm sure, because I know Coach Lee really values him as a player. And Coach Lee, one of the best coaches out there right now, is going to talk to Symbol and say, you know, I know you got nervous. It's going to be fine. I want to train you. I know you have talent. And I guess we're going to listen to Green Day right now. Anyways, up next we've got Nada versus, up next we have Hongen versus Lovesick, another PvZ. And we're going to take a short little break here before that happens. So don't go anywhere. You know, last time we had a little bit of a longer break, but I think this one's going to be a little bit shorter. In the meantime, guys, make sure that you go and watch Kaldor and Moletrap casting on the other stream. They're casting some of the other games there. And you can follow me on Twitter. Please do that. I am at ProxyWolf. Follow Gome TV as well. Follow me, tweet at me. Tell me your thoughts on my solo casting. I actually am really just... At first when I sat down, I was like, alright, this is going to be a challenge, this is going to be hard, but I feel like I just kind of jumped back into it naturally. This is how I got my start as a caster. I did it alone, and it's good to kind of come back to your roots sometimes. I casted at the Super Tournament alone. You know, I guess I was going to say one of 2 casters to ever solo cast at the GSL, myself and Tasteless, but of course Kaldor recently solo casted for the GSL as well, so just wanted to let you guys know it's a big challenge, but it's fun for all of us. You know, even when Tasteless did it back in the day when Artosis was coaching at the World Championships, casting alone is fun, it's awesome, so don't worry, we're not stressed out, I'm not going to lose my voice, it's going to be an awesome rest of the night, so don't go anywhere, we'll be back in just a few. Like a star.